there was no way Shedeur wasn't going to make this team. First of all, if you look at the jersey sales right now with the Browns, they're one of the highest out of the whole team. Just think about it. A third-string, fourth-string quarterback, at one point, a fifth-string quarterback on this roster, his jersey is selling more than half the players on this roster. So there was no way the Browns, knowing that this guy is a high-profile player, his father is Dillon Sanders, prime, that they weren't going to let this guy make the team, no matter how bad he played in his final game. The fact is right now, Shedeur Sanders has a lot to prove. A lot. And only time will tell if he's an NFL player or he's a CFL player or he's just another guy. And right now, hey, if you're a Browns fan, you should be excited because you don't know who your quarterback's going to be. You have Joe Old Man Flacco throwing the ball early in the season. You might even see at one point Deshaun Watson, a.k.a. Superman, as we all know Dabo Swinney says that he was. The fact is right now, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, as of right now, is the future for the Cleveland Browns. And sitting here today, are you cheering for that? Are you excited for that if you're a Browns fan? Or are you scared? I think Dillon Gabriel is a good young player. He was a Heisman candidate. Very nice kid. Really, really nice. Small. Very, very small. Is he going to last in the NFL? Now, there are other quarterbacks over the years, Drew Brees being one of them, Russell Wilson being another. They have been successful. They've won Super Bowls. Dillon Gabriel's a different type of quarterback. He's not an accurate thrower like Drew Brees. He doesn't have the arm Drew Brees has, and he's not a scrambler like Russell Wilson. Different players. And Shedeur Sanders, he's pretty big. He's not a small guy. 6'2", 6'3". He's got a good arm. He's an interesting person in the pocket. And what I mean by that, you don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to run backwards 20 yards and get sacked? Or is he going to run forwards 20 yards and actually gain yards? You don't know what you're going to get at Shedeur Sanders because Shedeur Sanders doesn't even know if he's on a football field or he's hanging out in a boys' locker room. Or he's hanging out in a studio rapping. Sometimes I wonder if Shedeur Sanders knows who he really is. The fact is his father's one of the greatest defensive players to ever play this game. And when you hear Eric Dickerson come out, and obviously he has a good connection with Prime, I know that for a fact, that him and Deion Sanders are very, very close. Of course, Eric Dickerson's going to come out and protect Deion Sanders' son, saying that there was collusion. There was collusion that the GMs and owners didn't want to draft this guy in the first 2 days. What a crock of you-know-what. They knew that this kid was going to be a problem. This guy's going to make money because of his name. This guy's got the ability to go out there and be a star just because he is Prime's son. Just like Travis, a.k.a. the Gremlin Hunter. He comes from that brand. And when you come from a brand of nutso, and I say nutso because that's the way Prime plays. Go look at anything that he's done on and off the field over the years. I think Prime is one of the most unique people in professional sports history when it comes to endorsing himself and selling himself and making the most money for a brand. He is one of the best of all time. But for years, we have heard Prime go out there and talk about his son, that his son is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And he said that Shiloh is an NFL player. Shiloh didn't even last the preseason. He's going to be in the CFL. Shedeur, how long is it going to take for the NFL to realize that this kid might not be an NFL player? He's got the best chance over Shiloh because Shiloh is undersized. He's a defensive player who I don't think had any business playing on an NFL football field against anybody, third string, fourth string, or even fifth strings. Shedeur at least has an understanding of the position as a quarterback. The question is, when you got guys like RG3, like I've said many times, sticking up for you, and you don't have guys like Peyton Manning or Eli Manning or Ben Roethlisberger coming out and sticking up for you, to me, that tells me one thing. It tells me that are you a likable person? Are you a transcending player for the future for the NFL and actually want this guy to be your starting quarterback for your future organization? That's a question that only owners and GMs are going to tell you. Here's the facts. If I was the GM for the Browns, I drop him. I don't want to deal with the backlash of this kid in the locker room, during games, after games. You have Dillon Gabriel that's trying to figure things out, and you have this guy tailing right behind him, probably talking behind Dillon Gabriel or sinking things in the offensive linemen's heads or some of the wide receivers that are building relationships with Shedeur on the football field and during practice while Dillon Gabriel's trying to figure out how to read plays or figure out audibles at the line of scrimmage. If I was Dillon Gabriel right now, would I be comfortable right now knowing that Shedeur Sanders is sitting behind me? The answer would be no. I would be telling ownership and I'd be telling my coach, it's either me or him. If you don't want me here, trade me somewhere else where I get a chance to prove myself. I was a runner-up for Heisman. I was a top 5 player in the country last year. This guy played for his father. This guy he never beat a top 25 defensive team in all of college football last year. I did. I was in the playoffs. I had the best team in the country last year. I would be uncomfortable going into an NFL season knowing that Shedeur is a more popular player. He's more talked about and spoken about throughout the league than I am. I was a higher draft pick. I was a higher profile player coming out of the draft. And this guy's being more spoken. People are speaking about him more than they're speaking about me. And I'm the number 2. I'm not his father. Shedeur will never be his father. And Shedeur needs to stop looking or trying to chase his father's shadow. Because to me, that's all he's going to be doing. And if he doesn't learn how to keep his mouth shut and be professional and understand the quarterback position, learn the position. Don't sit there and say, hey, I know the book. I know the plays. I know this. I know that. When everybody knows and it's been said, one of the main reasons why you were not drafted in the first 3 rounds is you don't study. You don't study plays. You don't watch anything. You think that your pure talent is enough for you to step on an NFL football field and win. Johnny Manziel did that. How long was Johnny Manziel in the NFL? Ask anybody that. Tim Tebow was a studier. He didn't have that God-given talent that some of these other quarterbacks, the Eli Mannings, the Peyton Mannings, the Drew Breeses. He didn't have the God-given talent, but he had the heart and he had the study ability that he would sit there and watch film. This man doesn't know the word film. He should have never made this team. The Browns made a big mistake. I think this is going to be a huge problem during the season because Dillon Gabriel is eventually going to get a shot. And what is Dillon Gabriel going to do when he makes a mistake? What is Dillon Gabriel going to do when they lose 2 games in a row? He's going to worry about Shedeur taking his job or throwing a touchdown, 1 touchdown to his 0 in 2 games because the team has no offensive talent. And they're saying Shedeur's the guy and Dillon Gabriel's garbage. To me, I'd be worried about that. Not the fact that Shedeur Sanders is Deion Sanders' son, and RG3 thinks that he's getting a bad kick in the butt by the media because they don't like him. It's a bunch of crap, okay? Fans, stop it. Stop going out there and attacking me on social media that I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm going to tell you this right now. Shedeur Sanders is going to be nothing. He's going to be nothing in the NFL. And to me, he's a pure backup. He will be considered a backup. And when his father decides to take an NFL job in the next 3 to 4 years, when he claimed he didn't, and he wasn't, he will. And his son will be his backup quarterback. That will be the only reason why Shedeur has a job in the NFL in the next 4 years. Because his father's going to take a job to make sure that his son is taken care of. Besides that, his son is not good. You watch the film, you watch what he does. He does everything wrong on a football field. Nobody runs backwards 20 yards because you're trying to get open or trying to wait for somebody to get open. When you have faster, stronger, more talented athletes in the NFL than you do in college football. You can't do what you did in college football in the NFL. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And guys, and all these media guys and all these coaches and GMs coming out and saying that Shedeur wasn't the guy, he wasn't, in their eyes, the guy that they thought was going to be the future of their organization, they're not wrong. These guys have been studying football just as long as anybody he knows, as his father was as a professional athlete, or his uncle or his grandfather was as a semi-pro football or baseball player. I don't know. I don't know what his uncle or grandfather was, but the fact is, Shedeur thinks that he knows more than the owners do, more than the GMs do, and more than the coaches do.